Greetings, friend. I will show you what Taboo Sudoku Strategy will solve the colored cell and unlock this hard Sudoku. Click below if you want to give this puzzle a go, and with that, it's solving time. All right, look here in block 2, okay? You notice how this 1 cuts across? There's only 2 possibilities for a 1 in block 2. I'm going to mark that. That is called Snyder notation. Anytime in a 3x3 block you have 2 possibilities, mark it. In case we solve one of these cells, we can solve the other one right away. Also, if you notice how the 1 comes down, column 1, there's 2 possibilities for 1 here in block 4. And when this 1 comes up, 2 possibilities in block 6. And in the way this 1 cuts across, 2 possibilities for 1 here in block 8. What's interesting to note is you have the 1s limited to columns 4 and 6 here in block 2. You have the 1s limited to columns 4 and 6 here in block 8. So they make what's called a mini X-wing, and I'll kind of show this here. And so a 1 can be either there, there, or there, or there. But a 1 cannot be in column 5 in blocks 2 or 8. So a 1 has to be in one of these 3 cells. I don't normally mark Snyder notation for 3 possibilities, but what I will do is I'll just highlight these in a purple and remind me that that's actually going to be 3 1s. Welcome to Smart Hobbies. If you're new, subscribe, tap the bell for notifications if you want to turn your passing interest in Sudoku into a fun and enjoyable hobby. Now let's look at the 2s. You see how this 2 cuts across as well? 2 possibilities for a 2 in the same spot as the 1s. Whenever you see this, we have a unique situation called a hidden pair. What it means is the 1 and 2 are limited to those 2 cells in block 2. So they're the only 2 possibilities there, and you can remove any other candidates from those 2 cells. And then you see how this 2 cuts across here, 2 possibilities for 2 in block 4. And what you'll notice is with this 1, 2 here, there's only 3 possibilities left now in block 2. That's a 3, 4, 6 naked pair. And we can get rid of the 6 from there, we can get rid of the 3 from there, and the 4 from there. And it's a locked candidate, which means that 3, 4, 6 cannot be anywhere else along row 1 now. All right, I want to thank Jovial for this amazing puzzle I've featured many times on my channel. It comes from the Sudokult Dark Arts pack, created by some of the best setters in the world. I'll put a new puzzle up every Friday this month. And I'll explain where that name comes from, the Sudokult Dark Arts, later on in the video. Let's check out the 3s. We're going to 3 be in block 1. Well, because of this 3 and this 3, and then the 3s are in these 2 spots. These act as pointing pair of 3s, which means the 3s can only be in these spots. Because the 3 has to be in one of these 2 spots here, it can't be there, and because of this 3, it can't be here. And so we can mark these 2 spots as well for 3s. And then let's look in block 6. You have a 3 coming down here, 3 cutting across there, 2 possibilities for a 3, and again, they act as a pointing pair, which means that you can't have a 3 anywhere else along row 6 there, because if you did, you have no place to put a 3 in block 6. And so by using this 3 and this 3, we can limit the 3s to these 2 spots in block 5. All right, so look at the 4s. 2 possibilities for 4 right there as part of that naked triple. And then with these 2 4s and this 4, 2 possibilities for 4 here in block 5. Also in block 7, you go right here with these 2 4s. Even though they're not lined up together, they're still good for putting Snyder notation there. We just can't use them as pointing pairs or claiming pairs. Let's look at the 5s. Where can they be in block 3? You got these 2 5s here. And so we can mark those for 5s. And then with this 5 here, can't be in these 2 spots. We got 2 possibilities for 5 right there. With these 2 5s, 2 possibilities for 5 there in block 9. And then in block 5, with this 5 and these 2 5s, 2 possibilities for 5. You probably noticed we haven't solved any cells yet. And that's what we're doing. We're gaining information until we can get a solve in there. This is a tough puzzle. All right. And then we can look at the 6s now. Look up in block 2. 2 possibilities for 6 there as part of that naked triple. And I'm marking these for a reason. If you come down here into block 5, you got 2 6s here and this 6. 2 possibilities for 6 here. What's interesting to note is because this can be a 4 6, okay, where else, what other cell in column 5 contain a 4 and a 6? Well, it has to be right here, right? Because you have a 4 and a 6 in row 5, row 6, and then here in the block covering up row 9. And so this is an actual hidden pair 4, 6 right there. Very cool, all right? And what it does is it eliminates any other candidate, including the 1, from being in that spot. So we're going to put the 1s right there and get rid of that because I was just marking that for Snyder notation. So this is a 1, 4, 6, and this is now going to be a 1, 2, 7 naked triple. I can get rid of the 1 right there, and the 7's already in the row. Click on the pinned comment to join the Smarty Party. You'll receive exclusive puzzle packs and members-only discounts. Become a Super Smarty for $25 a month. I'll put your name in every video. Okay, let's check out where else the 6s can go. With these 2 6s, 2 possibilities for a 6 right there. We didn't get a solve out of that, though. We will soon. And let's look at the 7s. You got 7 here, 7 there. 2 possibilities for 7 in block 3. And then look in block 5 with these 2 7s and this 7. 2 possibilities for 7 in block 5. All right, let's look at the 8s. Got this 8 cutting across with this 8. So there's 2 possibilities for 8 in block 8. And they are also a pointing pair. And with this 8 and this 8, 2 possibilities for an 8 in block 9. Okay, and let's look at the 9s. Same thing that we had with the 1 and 2. Now the 8 and 9 cover these 2 cells, and they're right here, so they can't be in this cell. So this is 2 possibilities for 9. Whenever you see that, you know that's going to be a hidden pair. When those Snyders are on top of each other, that is a hidden pair. Okay, we cannot put any more Snyder marks in this puzzle. So we're kind of dried up and we haven't solved anything yet. And so we can either start looking at single candidate strategies to try to get a solve, or we can start filling in cells. And I'll tell you, one of these methods is going to help us solve this cell right here. And this is important, the green cell, like it was on the cover, because it involves our taboo strategy. So let's start here in block 8, because that's where it's at. What can this cell be? It can be a 1, 2, or a 7, because it can't be a 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, or a 9. And then this cell can be a 1 or a 2. So what you notice is you got a 1, 2, 7 naked triple here in the block, and you have an 8, 9 hidden pair that we already noticed before. However, we have now created an interesting pattern here involving those 1s that are up here and the 1s that are down there, and these the 2s that happen to be in row 7. So I'm going to highlight all that in blue. Okay, what you might notice is if this cell right here, if we made that a 1, that'd force this cell to be a 2, that'd be a 1, and that'd be a 2. Okay. But if this was a 2, this would have to be a 1, that'd be a 2, that'd be a 1. You'd have 2 possibilities for these 4 cells. All right, one of the things that I put here on the backdrop, and it's in the Sudokult Dark Arts pack, it says that each puzzle has a unique solution. And you actually need to know that in order to solve these puzzles. That is considered a taboo strategy, and the reason being that many of the setters think that you're going outside the rules of normal Sudoku by assuming this unique solution. Most puzzles in the actual rules of Sudoku do not require puzzles to have a unique solution. They could have 2 or more. However, it drives people nuts to solve a Sudoku puzzle that has more than 1 solution. And since the Sudokult put it specifically, this puzzle has a unique solution, we can apply a strategy called uniqueness, a unique rectangle type 1. And what I just showed you is that this cannot be a 1 or a 2, or you end up having 2 solutions. We know it can't have 2 solutions, so we can remove the 1 and 2 from right there, and we'll be able to solve this cell for a 7. And you can learn more about unique rectangles in this tutorial. And so now we can put the 7 right here. And the reason this is called Sudokult Dark Arts is the Dark Arts refers to that uniqueness. They thought it was kind of funny. They said, 1, we're not in a cult, and 2, because we're using uniqueness, it's considered taboo, forbidden by some, but we want to explore ways you can solve puzzles using uniqueness. And I thank Jovial for featuring that strategy in this puzzle. What does it do for us? Let's remove the blue and the green, since we solved that green cell, and see what that does. All right, because of this 7, we know now this has to be a 2, that has to be a 1. We can displace that Snyder mark, solve this for a 7. We know this has got to be a 1. And then this one is going to allow us to solve for a 2 there and solve for a 1 right there. Okay, we are making some progress here. All right, with this one, now we can take advantage of some of these Snyder marks. We know we can solve this cell for a 1. With these two ones, we can solve this cell for a 1. With this one, we can also remove this Snyder mark and solve this for a 1, displacing that Snyder 3. And then with these two ones and these two ones, we can solve for a 1 right there. We've taken care of all of the ones. All right, we got, now let's look at block 6. We have a 3 right here. We need a 5 and a 9. Well, I got a 9 right there. So this is your 9, displacing that Snyder 5, which will displace this 5. Solve this cell for a 5, displacing our Snyder 6, displacing our Snyder 4. And then we can solve for the 4 up there, displacing the 3 and the 6. Solve all of those. With this 3, now we can displace that Snyder 3, solve this cell for a 3. Okay, using the Snyder to our advantage. Did you use uniqueness to solve this? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you, and I answer every one. Let's go over here. We have a 1, 2, 3, 8, and 9. We need a 4, 5, 6, or 7. I got a 4, 5, 6 right here. Means this cell has to be a 7. And you might notice with this 5 that this cell can no longer be a 5, which means this cell is your 5, displacing that Snyder 5. We can solve for the 5 right there, displacing the Snyder 6. Okay, and then what we have is, since we solved for the 7 right there, we know we can solve this cell for a 7. The only place left for an 8 is right there, and we can remove that 8. All right, and then with these two 8s and this 8, we can solve for an 8 right here. And then what we need is a 4 and a 6, and we know then this cell has to be a 9. All right, and so we saw that for a 9. And now we're looking for 3, 4, 7 across here. Well, I got my 7 right there. I got my 7 right there. So that has to be a 7. Okay, and then with these two 7s, we can solve for the 7 right there, displacing that Snyder 4. All right, and with these two 4s and this 4, we can solve for a 4 right there. And now we do that 4, 6, disambiguating like I pointed out before. And then with these two 6s, we can solve for a 6 right there. Okay, with this 6 and these two 6s, we're just doing some cross-hatching. We're going to solve for a 6. We got a full house here. And so I'm going to use my neat naked triple trick. Solve all 3 of these cells. We're missing a 2, 3, 4. I have a 3 and a 4 right here, and I got the 4 repeated. That means we can solve all 3 cells. This has to be a 2. This is the only place the 4 will go, and that's got to be your 3. That comes up all the time. And then we have the 8, 9 to go with these other digits. We know the only place left for 3 has got to be right there. And then we're looking for is a 2, 9 right there. And what we can do to help our cause is the 2's right here can't be in this cell. So this has got to be a 2. And we can remove that as a 2, which is going to allow us to solve this cell here for a 9. Disambiguate the 8 and the 9. Okay, I don't see an 8 in block 5, so I'm going to pull it up from block 8. That's got to be your 8. That's got to be your 2. And now this is going to be a 9 to finish row 6. And here we go. There's your 9, and there's your 2. See how I did all that? And with these 2's and this 2, that's got to be a 2, displacing that Snyder 3. Alrighty, and we come in here. I don't see an 8 in block 4, so I'll mark that. And with these two 8s, I can solve for an 8 up here in block 1, and then finish. Our last digit is a 9. Jovial named this puzzle a new friend. Did you know it has a sister puzzle called an old friend that came first? Check out this video to see if you can solve that Sudoku. Thank you so much for watching.